All right, here we go. I had my doubts, but the day has finally come where I'm putting the 440 and the TKO in the Charger for the last time. So here we go. All right, we are here finally putting Edelbrock and Comp parts on our Motorhome 440. I'm very excited. Got my buddy Chris, got Jacob behind the camera. Chris doesn't like being on camera, so he escaped. Fun fact, we actually have already started this build, but I went to roll the motor over and Jacob heard a little clunk, and then the motor got really tight and we heard a clunk again, and one of the bolts that I'd used to hoist the engine with a chain had fallen through the lifter bore and down into the oil pan. So we've spent the last hour pulling the oil pan off to get that out.
Yeah, we haven't done the work we wanted to because we had to pull that off.
Yeah.
It was great.
Just dumb. I had it sitting in the car, just doing some preliminary test fitting. He does. He's on camera. Get him. With Bucky stuff. All right, so I'm going to set the cylinder head on real quick.
All right.
This is our Edelbrock. Shiny new parts. Way better than what this Motorhome 440 deserves. We want threaded bolt, threaded side out so we can bolt accessories on. Installed just like that.
Looks so good with those on there though. That makes such a big difference for this motor.
Yes, very excited.
Yep. Motorhome motor with really expensive parts.
Way better than it deserves. All right, so we got the heads bolted on here. If you're wondering, the Edelbrock head that we're using is a part number 60825, 75cc chambers. We're about to bolt these down to 70 foot-pounds. Yes. 70.
What was the spec? 40 to 55, then 70. So you don't torque them all at once. It says it right here. So you go in steps of 40, 55, and 70.
Got it. Here we go. All right, so we've got, you see this side's mostly put together here. Unfortunately, we got the wrong push rods. We are supposed to have one that is not shaped like a cup, but is shaped like, well, I was trying to pull this one out, but like that instead of like that. So we aren't gonna be able to finish putting the top in tonight, but you can see this side's put together. We're gonna put that side together now. So we're using a set of Comp roller lifters, much better for sustained RPM like we're going to be doing in this car. This is a part 89211-16. This is how you leak oil all over your thigh.
Yeah, that's nice. Look at that.
So these have been soaking in some liquid moly for the last, I don't know, week. And I had Jacob guinea pig this, so we know which way these go in now. And these are going with that piece facing out. There we go.
Yeah, when you're running a roller lifter, you have to have a link bar because you don't want your lifters to spin on the camshaft. And without that link bar, they'd just be spinning and you would destroy your lifter.
Yeah, very bad. It would stop. The roller would no longer roll.
Yeah, but look how fancy that is in there. Again, much too good for a Motorhome 440.
Yeah, Freiberger showed us the way of what to do with Motorhome 440s. Spend way too much money on them. And then take them out, put a Hellcat in, then take the Hellcat out and put the Motorhome 440 back in.
Makes perfect sense.
If you don't think about it.
But if you're not going to be running roller lifters, you definitely want to run oil like this liquid moly stuff with a ton of zinc in it. Luckily, these are rollers, so it's not going to matter no matter what oil you run. But zinc is never a bad idea.
Like radio, we got both.
Yeah. Look at that. It's so beautiful, even though we can't finish putting it together.
We have the whole Edelbrock ProFlow EFI kit that I really wanted to put on, but I don't really know that it makes sense since we're not going to finish the valve train tonight. So probably going to let that be for another day and another video, but yeah, we'll see if we can figure out anything else. I may widen the hole for the transmission tunnel and stab this thing back in. Waiting on motor mounts, waiting on water pump bolts, and now we're going to be waiting on push rods. So, you know, that's how it is. Waiting on parts.
It's the way it goes.
And just like that, the engine is bolted in. You can see that. Oh, forgot to tighten the bolt. Ha! I'll go back and do that. But anyway, you can see the steering rack there. Obviously, you still got to finish push rods and rockers, but there's this side. Here's the transmission coming through. We're about ready to go. I'm excited. So I am making custom brake lines for the car right now. So as you can see, I've already got a couple things done. This one is hooked up. I've already got my proportioning valve right there. So what it is this one goes to the front, 2 calipers. This one goes to the rear. So this one comes out, goes into the rear. This is how you increase rear brake pressure. This is how you decrease. So, yeah, so I'm gonna show you how I make a brake line. We're gonna do this to this. So first I just did a quick measurement over this way and down. That's roughly 8 inches. So now I'm gonna come over to here, mark off 8 inches and cut that. Next, you use this little brake line cutter, spin it around a bunch of times, continue to tighten that little knob there, and eventually you will cut through this brake line. I did not talk earlier about what type of brake line this is. So this is just steel brake line. Aluminum is not quality enough. I don't trust aluminum brake line, and stainless is too hard to bend and flare and all that. So I just use regular steel. The next thing to do, I just take a little drill bit and put some pressure right there and deburr this. It just goes together like this. And then you can take this over to the flaring tool, which I have set up right here. This is an Eastwood unit. Really convenient. I'll show you how easy it is to do a flare. And this is with one hand, so it'll be a little bit slower. But you just stick it through here. This is the one set up for a 3/16 line. Roll that over, lock it in place. You want to get the end of the brake line, a little too hard there, end of the brake line flush with the end there. Now you lock it down hard. That is option 1. So we're going to take this. And that does our first flare. If we want a inverted flare, option 2. After that, open it up, unlock this, take that off, take this off. And we have a nice inverted flare. So that's how you make a brake line. So in the interest of time, I went ahead and bent the first line, but I'll show you how I do it. So it's pretty simple. You can see, obviously I want to line it up with here. So I just come right here, make a line that lines up with it. Okay, I wanted to go over something briefly. So good buddy of mine, co-instructor at Drift University, and fellow connoisseur of cannonball related things, as well as drifting, Michael Elsey and I have a bet. So the Charger behind me, obviously, just put the motor in. Our bet is that my car, this 70 Charger, gets a proper test drive. And by that test drive, we mean runs, drives, start, stops, and has an attempt at a cooling system. Before his does. He has a 78, 79, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, Camaro, that has not run and drove in 15 years. He's doing full suspension, different motor, different trans he got from our buddy Jared Pink at Wrench Every Day, now Questionable Garage, excuse me. And he's got a lot of work to do on his car too. So we are in a race to try and get our cars done first. If you don't know who he is or haven't seen his channel, I'll put a link into it below. And the loser has to buy the other's Coors Banquet at a undisclosed time. So you guys follow along, check his channel out, and follow his build progress as well. All right, it's brake bleeding time on the Charger, and I have my favorite helper. How do you feel about bleeding brakes?
Oh, that's my most favorite part of the day.
I knew it would be. All right, so what we're doing, I just bled the master. She's in there on a really nice stool, pumping the brakes. So I've removed the bleeder here. I built all these brake lines in one afternoon, by the way. So, oh, you're wearing my Crocs, I see.
Don't show them.
All right, pump the brakes. Hold. Got a little air that time. Pump. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, it's like coming
Yeah, hold. We may have to, we're doing a little geyser in here. Now we're making progress. Pump. Hold. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. The dribble is good. Pump.
I love doing this so much.
Hold. That's the kind of nice stream you want.